Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be discussing JOJOLands Chapter 17, That Girl's Bags Groove Part 2. Can I just say, I can't believe it's been a month already. I said I was going to do that Nintendo Direct discussion, and I assumed it had been like 2 weeks. No, it's been a whole month, so that's good. And it's already time for new JoJo, and that's exciting on its own. So yeah, let's just get right into it. Now, right off the bat, what I noticed about this chapter is in the cover page, which I'll put on screen, there's a new character with a new design, a new pretty interesting design, and right off the bat, I was like, who is this? Like, obviously we're gonna get introduced to this person, but they look very well like detailed. Um, and this might be a little bit early to say, but this could be JoJoLand's main villain. Um, it's tricky to say, it's a little too early, but I think that the design is interesting. We'll get into it. We'll get into it in a minute. But yeah, maybe a new Jofa. So yeah, the chapter cover this month is pretty cool. Um, it's not one of Araki's best, but it's interesting. Like, it's new. It kind of reminds me of the Brady Bunch a little bit. Um, but yeah, I have all the characters. There's Lulu, there's Bobby Jean, there's Charming Man, and the others. There's a lot of people. There's a new character who we learn about in the next page. Okay, so maybe not the next page, because the next page is feeding these women water. We don't know what it is at the time, but it just looks like water on the tongue, and they explain what it is in a minute. But I was like, what is going on right now? For the first like two chapters, or 2 pages, I was like, what is this? What are we doing right now? Like, and like the fact that they just like, I don't know, it's very kind of just like explicitly, not explicit, it's just like funny. I don't know, he's like you're like, okay, this guy's a ladies man right here. Like, this guy gets some. So yeah, you cut to this new guy, and he has a bunch of women with him. He's clearly on a plane, and I didn't know what was going on. I thought, like, okay, maybe this is a new minor villain coming into the fold. Um, Probably a lot more important than that, as we'll see in a minute here. But basically, he's just talking about Rashiri. He said the one before Rausu Dashi stock? I don't. I'm not 100% sure what any of that means. I assume it's just a Japanese thing. Like, it's it says it's top quality kombu. Okay, I just looked it up. It's kelp. It's edible kelp. It says online, and I guess this is like juice from it. It doesn't really matter. But yeah, then we hear him talk about, like, he clearly knows a lot about the land, and I mean, this is clearly just Araki talking about, like, the real world, like he likes to do. He likes to teach us things. Thank you, Araki. And, yeah, this is just a crazy scene right here. Like, I kicked my lamp. Um, this is just a crazy scene. Like, this is just a crazy panel in general, with just him pouring the juice on these women's faces, and they're like, wow, this is so tasty. And he's like, wow, you guys are so wonderful, like, I'm gonna buy the entirety of Hokkaido for you. And then you see that they were doing some stuff to him, that the juice wasn't the only thing they were taking orally. And then we learn that this is the guy who owns Howler. I believe his name is Aka Howler. And I didn't realize it at first. I was like, oh, interesting, okay. So this is going to be like a new villain probably. But then I didn't think about it until like the next page. But this shot right here of him looking at the distance, him looking out the window into the distance, like, I was like, just that face just reminds me of Valentine. For some reason, like, he just gives Valentine energy right there. And immediately I was like, oh, like, shit, is this the main villain? Like, and immediately I got excited because I was like, I love all the JoJo villains. They're all iconic. We had to wait so long to get the one for part 8, and to see possibly a new one this early on brings me just a lot of excitement. And his design is pretty cool too. The lines on his face honestly remind me of when Josuke did the equivalent exchange, I believe, and he had like the rock over like his eye. That's honestly what it reminds me of. Um, and it also kind of reminds me of Weka Pipo. So I don't know if like either of those two things are related. He could be a rock human for all we know. Um, there's some stuff implied about him, but yeah, I like how he has like the Howler logo on his like shirt too. He's big into his company. He's got like Giorno hair. Like, I don't know. This guy looks pretty cool so far. And yeah, when he steps off of the plane, there's a bunch of people waiting for him. And he's like, "Oh great, here we go." And he immediately is like, "Oh, thank you all to the girls who were revealed to be the flight attendants." So good. He seduced them real quickly there. um, and yeah, we're basically just informed during the scene about how Howler is kind of going bankrupt a little bit. He might have to sell some of his land, and this takes place like, I don't know how many minutes this takes place after um, the last chapter ended. I assume like possibly like only an hour at most, but it's a little hard to tell because these bank people met him here at the runway. Like, they probably wouldn't have been there already. They would have had to rush over there. But then like we cut back to the main characters, and Usagi, I feel like he would have died if they'd waited too long. So like, I don't know how much time this takes place in between, but I don't know. It's hard to tell. And it's weird too because they talk about how Congressman White from last chapter, which I didn't realize that his name was just Mr. White, which is another intentional Breaking Bad reference, I'm sure. But yeah, they talk about how he has suddenly given his signature to permit the seizure of the land. So it had to have like just happened, but I guess they just got here really quickly. And they talk about how they're from Dolphin Bank and how Howler owes them a lot of money, specifically $38 billion. So he's immediately like, "Oh, okay, I can't pay that, basically. This is a joke." And, yeah, they basically just say, "Hey, like, we need to do it. Like, I don't care if you're bankrupt. You might have to pay with your land. You're going to be found guilty for crimes regarding Hualalai Island, or Hualalai land, you see?" And they both refer to themselves as villains, which I just think is funny that they're, like, self-aware about that, I guess. Also, I don't know why this guy got the Joshu cup, but he's rocking it, I guess. And then after the bank guys leave, we see him call Bobby Jean after being like, "What the hell is going on right now?" And he's basically just talking about how, like, should I give you permission to, like, investigate these guys, like, assassinate these guys? We see that in a minute. But we get this interesting panel, and I don't know what this is supposed to mean. But he says, "It's similar to the movement that happened once when I was a child. That was the sudden change in the system of money flow. It can't be, can it?" And we see like this rock creature, like stand maybe, coming out of the ground. It doesn't have arms. They're just like little nubs. And it's interesting. Like, I don't know if it's supposed to be a stand or not. It looks like a rock human to me, but you never really know with this series. But if it is a stand, then that means that we get 2 enemy stands this chapter, so that's pretty cool. We're getting a lot of stands so far, like, just basing on, like, how many chapters it's been already. Like, there's a lot of stands. And then we cut to Bobby Jean and Lulu again. They are investigating. I don't know what the hell is up with this hula doll, because there's something she does with it in a minute. But she's still carrying it around, and they're basically just looking at the van. Clearly, Dragana changed the license plate because this is the same van they were in, but it says, no, this one is a different number, so it can't be this one. And I am still in the camp that this little girl has something going on with her. she's way smarter than she like looks like she should be for her age. She speaks in all these like big words, and she knows a lot about like land acquisition, stuff like that. Like, I feel like a little kid would know about this stuff, so I'm gonna say like she's some sort of rock human or something. And this girl basically just starts saying like, "Oh, this is kind of stressful. Like, I don't know what's going on. These people are sure as hell not police." Like, and he's basically just kind of lax about it. He's like, "Okay, well, they're still gonna get sick and die, right? Like, you put bags grooved inside there. There's no way they can like escape that." And she's just like, "Yeah, yeah, definitely. Like, there's no way that they can get away from it." Which I've heard that before. No one can deflect the Emerald Splash. And then we see that Dragana left one of their flowers on the, like from their hair, they left it on the seat by mistake. And so that kind of clues them in. They're like, oh, one of the people is wearing that. Or no, my mistake. They just basically, she wants Bobby Jean to buy it for her. And she starts having a tantrum. And this is the weird part. She starts scratching the car, like she's keying the car or something. Except it's with a hula doll. So I'm like, what is this hula doll made of? Or maybe it's just her strength. I don't know. And right afterwards, these two realize that there's a hospital right next to this car. So they were like, oh, they're probably trying to heal their friends. I don't know how they know that my stand is in there, how they got my stand out of there, but someone was saved and they're probably trying to save their other comrades. So both of them head there. And then we finally cut to the main characters, where Usagi is still really screwed up. And they all make a plan, and they go into the MRI room so that the Matakudasai can fix Usagi by making a new MRI machine, which this is a versatile ability, I gotta say, because, like, it can make things any size, apparently. It can just make a full-on MRI machine, along with a computer, like, I guess it can just make anything at once. Like, I don't know. We're going to have to see. But it's used in some interesting ways so far. And then we get this bit where Usagi absolutely owns Jodio. You know, he's like, hey, you know what MRI stands for? T, T, T. And he's like, oh, yeah, M stands for magnet. R is, and then Usagi gets him with the man's a real idiot. Got him. But then we realize it's basically just because the illness is affecting him and he's getting delirious, and they have to rush him to safety. And this is probably a coincidence, but they start saying gaga, 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 which reminds me of the Radio Gaga incident. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but I think this is just an effect. He's like spelling out weird, like he's in pain, so he's just making random noises. While Bags Groove does like a stand rush on the inside of his body, and it looks like his stand cry is Busha, which is reminds me a little bit of Kiss, I think. It's Kiss or Whitesnake. Scary Monsters had it too. So then we see the villains end up at the hospital, and I just want to mention real quick, I don't know what I was thinking last review when I said, oh yeah, Bobby Jean is probably gonna be like some One Piece smoker-esque rival where he keeps coming back and like messing with them. I don't know why I thought that. That was a weird prediction. Even when I was rewatching my video, I was like, oh, that's weird. I actually don't agree with that. Like, JoJo doesn't really do that. A lot. I can think of like Whole Horse, sort of. Like, I don't know. There's like a few, probably Diego, I guess, but like, it doesn't happen a ton in JoJo. So I was just, I don't know why I thought that. Anyway, they show up and they have like a kind of Josuke Kira-esque scene where like the villain and the hero walk right by each other and don't notice. And immediately Lulu sees them and she's like, she gets a little suspicious, it looks like, but then she gets a call from Howler. I would think that those are the people you're looking for just based on the fact that they look like stand users, you know, JoJo stand users, but they look freaking weird. But it's JoJo, you know. It's like that meme. Anyone could be the user, anyone. But yeah, she gets a call from Howler, and he's basically like, this is of great importance. That I need this lava rock. I need you to kill them specifically. They don't really specify why. She just has to kill them specifically. Or no, she has to take the lava rock on her own. Bobby Jean can kill them, but he can't take the rock. And they don't really specify why, but I'm interested to see it. And so she turns to Bobby Jean. It's just like, okay, yeah, we can do it. Let's kill him. And so he just pulls out a new stand. I wasn't expecting a new stand this chapter, but he just takes out a gun. He puts the silencer on there, and he just says "Glory Days," which I've never heard of that song, but I also don't know music very well. So yeah, he points it at them, and I guess the bullets are slow because they have enough time to be like, what was that sound? Gunshots. Was that someone over there? Because then they turn around and Bobby Jean and Lulu aren't there. So maybe the bullets can teleport, something like that. Maybe they're like whole horse. They can turn, something like that. But a lot of them get shot. I believe it's Paco protects Dragana, which is nice. Paco's a real one for that. Paco's been a real homie this series. And yeah, they all get shot. It says gently shot, which makes me think these bullets are just gonna have some sort of effect, and not be that powerful. Cause like if they got shot and like it doesn't seem like it's going through them or hurting that bad or anything, that makes me think maybe it'll just do something to them. It could stun them, something like that. But it seems like an interesting stand, and that's where the chapter ends. I really liked some of the art in this chapter. Like the stand rush looked cool. Like the plane, like the airport background, that looked really cool. I mean, I don't even need to mention the art. Araki's always good at art. Like that'll never change. But yeah, I mean, some of the stuff in this just looked really cool. And I like how he's fully modeling out, like, or not modeling, but he's fully drawing, like, the whole background of the hospital, like, and people in the background. Like, he has such a good eye for detail. And all the character portraits always look really great. Some of their outfits, I'm a little mixed on some of their designs, but, I mean, they just keep getting crazier and crazier in JoJo. Starting from like part 5, but like I don't know. I like Paco and Jodio's outfits, but I guess just like it's mainly Usagi. His outfit's really stupid, and like Dragana's pretty and all, but they the outfit that they're wearing is kind of dumb, in my opinion. Especially with some of the coloring and like the Shueisha coloring of the chapters. How it's like bright orange. I don't know. Some of the color choices there are a little strange. Like they literally made Usagi look like Tingle, which is an interesting choice as well. I'm just going on a rant. JoJoLand is really good so far. I'm really enjoying it. Probably doesn't have like the same like appeal as JoJoLand for me, where it's like, oh, there's this big mystery and like we're gonna reveal more and more of it. We want to read more because we want more information on this. It doesn't have that big of a hook for me, but like it's still JoJo. I still love everything JoJo does, and the driving force for me is just more JoJo, like more awesome fights. These characters are really interesting. Mainly for me, the hook is figuring out what's going to happen with Jodio, because he's a really interesting protagonist so far with some clear flaws, and I want to see like how Araki expands on those. See if he becomes like a better person. See if he feels remorse for the things he does, even though they kind of implied he doesn't. So I'm just really interested in like his character and like what's gonna happen between him and the group. As depressing as that might be. And yeah, like I said, JoJoLands is really good so far. I'm really enjoying it. It's kind of hard to rank so far, but I mean, for like as far as the first like 20 chapters go, I'd say it's better than a lot of them. So, like a lot of the other parts. There's no JoJo that I think is bad. It's just part 9 is really excelling so far. reading like a part just like from the beginning, like it coming out as I'm a fan, is like a really cool thing, and I love doing these reviews. So uh, it is already 1:30 in the morning. I fell asleep when I was supposed to be reading this, so I'm not gonna be able to edit this video tonight. So I guess it's gonna happen tomorrow. But yeah, I had a lot of fun making this review. I really enjoyed this chapter. I got to see some new stands, possibly a new main villain, which is very exciting. But yeah, that's kind of gonna be it. I'm really excited for next month. I have a few like ideas for other JoJo videos. I might do a Nintendo Direct discussion as well pretty soon. But in terms of JoJo, I do have a few ideas. I just like need to get better at editing is the main thing. And I'm hoping to get a new setup for like the camera here. I would love to have like an actual video camera with like a stand. I'm kind of just propping up my webcam. Um, so yeah, hopefully the production of these can improve overall. But honestly, I thought the last video was so much fun to make. Probably one of my best videos in my opinion. And I'm just really excited to make more of these. It's really gonna drive me to make more content. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next month.